Oh, it's a lovely day to run around with a gun in my hand. Oh, what's this? There's something blocking me. I can't jump over it. It seems like I have the jump height of an Impy's Hub puppet. Maybe I can shoot it. Okay, R1 is to shoot. Oh, I know. I have a charged attack. If I hold R1, loads a special bullet and lets me get through. Puzzle solved. Seriously, though, this is a charged attack. You can shoot the gun by pressing R1. You can hold R1 and shoot something else. This can be used for jumps, punches, axe swings, whatever. It doesn't matter. If you're interested in learning how to do this, stick around. It's going to take like 2 minutes. Get over here. Let me show you how it's done. Okay, so let's go ahead and get out a little puppet. And that looks good. We got a little 9mm handgun. And so let's get this guy into a bit of a gun-wielding pose here. I'm going to go ahead and bring his arm up. And while we're here, I might as well make the head smaller. Okay. Now let's go ahead and turn off this and group the gun in with the hand. Okay, so the gun's in the hand, right? All right, now we don't want him to put it down. So let's see. We'll go in here. We can delete the follow behavior and the level complete and the sliding behavior. And this idle pose, I think I'll just get rid. There we go. Now, what we want here is we want to be able to shoot when we press a button. So let's go ahead and get out a microchip here. And for now, I'll just use square. You could use a trigger, obviously, but square is going to make things relatively easy. And now that I'm thinking about it, let's just use like R1. Okay, so normally if you were to shoot something, you would just send, when you press the button would go through a signal manipulator and it would be set to a pulse, and that would emit something or, do some sort of logic around firing. Now, that's not really going to work for what we're trying to do here, and I can show you why. Let's go ahead and make a little bullet. I don't want to make it too small so we can still see it. So that's cute. Okay, so we're going to emit that thing. Let me go ahead and just quickly set this to ignore gravity. That way we can watch the bullets fly a little bit better. Okay, so if we want to trigger that with R1, all we have to do is wire this up, and we can say whatever, it's fine. All right. Now it won't fire until I press R1. We can see it fires. And now if you want, you can get a little sound out with it. Okay, so we got the emitter and the sound, and we'll put it in here. And that will fire the gun. So if we start time, we can see we can control this little dude, and we press R1. But say we wanted to charge this up by like holding R1, right? We need to not fire that, and we need to know how to charge it. So let's think about this. There are some different methods we could use. One that sounds like a good idea to me is to use a combination of a timer and a timeline. And just to make sure that this is a thin wire, I'm going to put this through a combiner like that. Cool. Now, I am going to be using one of these, and I think I'll use toggle output at off. I'm actually going to use pulse at off. Okay, so we're going to use this here. And this essentially adds a 1 frame delay on the shot, but that's something that we're going to need to deal with the charging. So let's go ahead and plug this in here, and we'll give it like a second, and we'll put this on speed mode. Now what that does is, while we're holding R1, this timer counts up, right? And so if we ever let go, we can reset the timer. Right, and do you see where this is going? What we can do is we can use this timer output on the playhead of this timeline. so that as we hold our R1, it moves this timeline, it moves the playhead across the timeline. And then when it's done, it resets. Okay, so we're going to have our regular shot, and we're also going to want the charged shot, right? So we'll use a different object for that, and we'll go ahead and get a different sound too, so that's obvious. And instead of emitting that tiny little object, we'll emit a bigger one, and maybe we'll make it a different color so that it's obvious. Okay, that looks pretty good. And this thing will emit that. So we can see what that looks like. Cool. Instead of wiring this straight in, what we could do is we could use a selector. So this will wire the normal attack, and this is the charge up, right? Yeah. And maybe this will do that one. Now something's going to have to go in here. Let's think about this. If we use something like a variable, we could plug the variable into here. And so this would be somewhere from 0 to 1. And we can call this shot type. Now in here is where we can change the value of shot type. So we have that 1 frame delay at the beginning, so we need to avoid doing anything on that frame, because when we let go, let me go ahead and pin this to the screen. If we let go of R1, it goes back to the beginning. So we can't have anything modifying the variable there. So this will set shot type to 0, and we'll have another one in here that sets it to 1. Okay, so the only thing you have to do here is determine how long you want the player to have to charge up the weapon for, right? So this will set it to 1. This will set it to 0. So in this case, they have to get that type. They have to hold R1 until it's at this point here, which is roughly halfway. So we could indicate something that is charged up with like a visual indication. We can also add some sort of sound here. We'll use this artillery load sound, right? Now we want that to play right there so that the player knows that it's switched, right? So now what we can do is, you see how this shot type gets changed when we hold R1, right? Now we only want it to fire when we let go of R1. So let's get out an AND gate, 2 AND gates, and I'll plug this into here like that. And so this one will power this one will power that one. So now what we can do is plug that into there and that into there. And let me clean this up. Okay, so if I just tap R1, like normal, it shoots the gun. And if I hold it, it makes that noise. And when that happens, when I let go, it shoots the bigger bullet. Right? But we can see that when I tap R1, this timeline doesn't make it far enough. And if I hold it, then there's an audio indication that it's changed, and when I let go, it fires shot type 2, right? And we can see the selector switches here. Now if I just tap it again, it goes right back to type A. Okay, so now this could be used, like I said, for fighting games. It could be used for axe swings, pretty much anything where you want to differentiate between a tap and a press. This works really well. The only thing you need to remember is that this does introduce 1 single frame of delay, but that's to be expected considering the game needs to know whether it's a tap or a hold. So keep that in mind. But with that, this is pretty much done. Now, This controls how long you have to hold. So if I set this to 5 seconds, then we're going to need to hold R1 for like 2.5 seconds for it to get halfway there, right? Okay, so with that, we're done. Really simple, super easy to pull off. Now you can add charged attacks and differentiate between button taps and button holds really easily. This is super simple to set up. In here, you could put an emitter with some sort of visual indicator, like paint, for example, or maybe just a better sound. But this applies here. And if you wanted to have more than one charge attack, like if you hold it for 1 second, then it does a different one. And if you hold it for 5 seconds, then it does a completely different one. You could do the same thing. So you could do this for like charged jumps, or, the sky is the limit here. So I hope this is helpful. If you enjoyed this, please let me know in the comments below. If you're new around here and you want to see more Dreams tutorials, go ahead and click subscribe. I hope you're doing well and staying safe. I'll see you next time.